In the name of God, the most gracious and the most merciful. This is me, Dr. Abdrazak Ghabsi, an associate professor in English language and literature at the University of Mohammed Bouldief of Msila, Algeria. I'm also your teacher trainer during this academic writing MOOC course. Sequence 1 of week 3 is concerned with planning, drafting and sharing. In this first video, we will be concerned and we will be interested in knowing planning and drafting of a research scholarly piece. A question which might cross your minds as teachers of higher education is, what is planning in academic writing? So when you write, you plan, whether consciously or unconsciously. Even when you write a short note or a text on a mobile phone, you plan it first by thinking about it in your head. This means that planning is a cognitive process in the pre-writing stage. Planning helps us work out what we want to say in our writing, and it helps us organize our ideas. So there are two main objectives behind planning. First, knowing what we want to say, and second is organizing our thoughts and ideas. It is the first stage in writing. It is the pre-writing or the pre-drafting stage. So what are the things that you need to bear in mind when planning? You need to bear in mind three main questions. Why, who, and how. When you write a new piece of writing, you need to think about why you are writing it and who will be reading your piece. You also need to think about how you are going to plan your scholarly piece. An example, if you are writing an article or scholarly writing project, ask yourself these questions, and this is how you practice planning. First, ask yourself, am I writing to describe? Am I writing to evaluate? Or I am writing simply to analyze? Why I am writing? Second, ask yourself, are my audiences experts or simply novice? So, who I am writing to and who is going to read my piece? Third, ask yourself this question, am I going to plan my writing using a list, or I am going to organize my writing using sticky notes or simply a mind map? So how I am going to organize or plan my writing. What are the planning ways? First of all, let me tell you that there are many planning ways to use. However, I came up with the three major and prominent planning ways. The first planning way is planning using a list. Lists are useful for getting down or for jotting down and ordering the different points you want to cover in your writing. An example here, Maryam moved into a new flat, and Maryam writes a letter to her friend Khadija, in which she tells her more details about the new flat. So Maryam wrote a list. In the letter, Maryam uses a list in the, as a way of planning. Here is a list of points that Maryam included in the letter. First, we have the kitchen. Second, we have the number of rooms. Third, we have what the street is like. Fourth, we have transportation links. 5, we have what I think about the flat. And 6, what I need to buy for the flat. It is important to mention that when you do the listing way of planning, you simply write down the ideas, not by order. So whenever and whatever comes to your mind, just put it in the lists. And later on, when you finish the list, you might think about the order. If we take the example of the letter of Maryam to Khadija, so for example, Khadija might start by what the street is like, and then she moves to the transportation links, and after that she finishes out by speaking about the kitchen, and later or lastly about the things that she plans to buy for the new flat. So when you finish the list, think about the order. The second planning way is planning using a diagram. Diagrams are good visual ways of planning and organizing your writing. They take different forms such as mind maps, spider diagrams, virtual charts, flow charts, and so on and so forth. As an example, the diagram, the pie chart or the diagram is shown and illustrated. The third way is planning using a writing frame. A writing frame is a guide you can use when planning your writing. It could be in the form of a table or headed boxes with prompts such as who you are writing to. An example is here, a party invitation writing frame. Here, X is writing an invitation to Y, and in this writing frame of an invitation, there are two main columns. The column in your left hand is actually the things or the questions which he is asking, such as when the party will take place, where the party will take place, can guests bring partners, and so on and so forth. And in the column in your right hand, there are answers for these questions. So this is a writing frame. So why planning is important? Why do you need to plan your piece of writing before drafting? Planning is useful because it helps you organize your thoughts, as I already said, and prioritize the way you present information. It is also important because you will come up, thanks to planning, you will come up to a coherent argument. Your argument will be as coherent as possible. You are enabled to work out a logical structure thanks to planning and end point for your writing before you start the drafting process. You are more likely to become committed to sticking to one point. Since writing an article is simply about one idea, planning helps you to stick to that one idea only and don't jump into other ideas. After we have seen planning, the ways of planning and the importance as well as the significance of planning, we have to draft, we have to start writing. So what is drafting? According to Halbrook, drafting refers to the production of text, not to the organization of ideas. So it is completely different from planning. It has nothing to do with organizing ideas. It has to do with putting ideas into paper. So it has to do with the production of text. What are the drafting tips to help you improve your writing? First, we have free writing, as it is shown here in the slides. In free writing, the writer flows and the impulses of their own mind, allowing thoughts and inspiration to appear to them without premeditation. So it's just bringing all the ideas down on paper. Second, we have organizing your information. When you draft, when you start writing, you need to organize your ideas in an order that makes sense. The writing demonstrates how analytically, so the writing is not simply about putting ideas on a paper, but it should demonstrate how analytically and critically your mind is. You can impress you editors by spending time ordering ideas. Here are the three main organization methods which you can use and rely. First, we have the chronological order to explain the history of an event or a topic, and to tell a story or related to an experience, and to explain how to do or make something, to explain the steps in a process, chronological order. The second order is spatial, so it has to do with the space where the event took place. And the third order is the order of importance, to rank items by their importance. You have to organize ideas according to their importance. Third, we have to elaborate on ideas. This is simply extending, stretching out your writing, adding more details, writing more. And you can use the elaboration ideas, photograph or shape here, which I use. So, for example, you can relate the problematic with an anecdote, for example. Just tell what this is just like, what the problematic is simply like, and fill in some textual evidence. Bring more textual evidences to your writing. Make causality, so express the causation. Explain why this is happening and why, what caused the happening of certain coincidences. Write a complete draft. So drafting is where a writer should attempt to get the whole first version of their piece down before any revising or editing is done. The drafting process shouldn't take too long. The idea is quickly put down and organize your ideas from start to finish. Remember that when you draft, you need to ignore editing and proofreading. Just write the ideas down with elaboration, writing more, and so on and so forth, to have a first complete draft. This is a bibliography list for you to extend your background knowledge as far as planning and drafting. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good luck. Thank you.